It's f***ing weird.
Yeah. I mean, parallel universes, interdimensional beings. It's like bringing all of those things into play.
Yes. Yes.
All right, folks, let's delve into the eerie depths of Skinwalker Ranch, a place that'll make you think twice about venturing out after dark.
The Skinwalker is a medicine man who wants to have really evil powers. They can shapeshift into an animal.
Gusher, Utah isn't your typical sleepy town. Here, fear hangs in the air like a heavy fog, and the veil between dimensions is very thin. UFOs streak across the sky, cattle's meeting gruesome fates with eerie precision, and shape-shifting creatures lurk in the shadows just beyond the line of sight.
The father was outside and he sees a giant black dog, like huge, disproportionately big, and he thinks it's some kind of wolf that is coming after his livestock. So he takes his rifle and he shoots the thing.
Right.
With a big ass, like 30-06 rifle. The thing doesn't move. He fires numerous shots at it, and then eventually it turns around and takes off running and never recovered the body.
And it's just like this hot spot. It's like, I would be careful of my thoughts in that spot.
While I'm talking to him, this little black dot appears in my vision, my right eye. And over like a 3 or 4 day period while we were doing the investigation, that black dog got bigger and bigger.
What?
To where I lost 90% of my vision in my right eye.
It's the stuff of nightmares, and you've just stepped foot into the heart of it. So buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey where reality and terror collide.
It's weird. It's a weird place.
Oh, it's so weird.
All right, before we get into my favorite subject, which is Skinwalker Ranch, make sure you head over to our Patreon and sign up. We've got tons of extra content, and there's actually some really special stuff that I'm going to show only to my Patreon followers because it's footage that I took while I was at Skinwalker Ranch. I break it down with Cindy. It's actually really interesting. So go over to Patreon and sign up. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And now I present Skinwalker Ranch.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Jack Osbourne.
I'm Cindy Kaza.
And this is another special episode of Ghost and Grit where Cindy and myself break down some of the most famous / creepy, legendary paranormal cases. We are doing Skinwalker Ranch. One of my favorite places.
I've never been. I want to go so badly.
It's so cool. I think I've been, wait, how many times have I been? I think 3, maybe 4. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
The first thing I'll say about Skinwalker Ranch and the whole area, which isn't, I should say that, let me clarify, I've never actually been on the ranch. I have been in the Uinta Basin and all around the ranch.
Right.
The Uinta Basin, where it is located, it's the whole place. It's not just the ranch.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you would think the activity is not just locked into the ranch. It's the whole area. It's the land.
Yes. And many years ago, I was talking to someone who was a friend of a friend, and he made a lot of UFO programs back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Remember when Fox always had like the big like primetime alien show,
sure.
and it was like a big deal, and
it
got like 20 million viewers. So he produced a lot of those, and through doing that, he made a lot of interesting relationships, connections with some pretty high up people in
government.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was given information about Skinwalker Ranch in the 90s, and what they told him was that area of the world, Utah, the way it was described to him was that when alien spaceships come hurtling through the universe or galaxy at faster than light speeds, they can only enter, kind of dip back into our domain, if you will, or our dimension, it's certain energy points.
But that makes so much sense.
Yes.
I mean, look, it's like interdimensional beings. If we look at like pyramids and all of these ancient sites, some people believe they're like emitting, energy that aliens can recognize or these spaceships can recognize, right? So maybe Skinwalker Ranch is like one of those points.
Yes. Well, his exact words were, think of it like a deck hook on an aircraft carrier. You know, the hooks that the planes will catch the cables on because they're going,
so fast.
They need to slow down quickly. And he said the energy concentration there with whatever energy that they use, manipulate, or need to slow down is there. And so they come into our dimension and it slows them down.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, parallel universes, interdimensional beings. It's like bringing all of those things into play.
Yes. Now, why are we discussing Skinwalker Ranch? It's plain and simple. It's a hugely popular TV show. It is like one of the number one rated shows that history has right now. It's doing very well. Truth be told, when that show first came on, I was like, I don't know about this.
It's pretty good.
But it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
They do a really good job with that show. And they do a great job riding the line.
Yeah.
They're not all the way in and they're never out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cool.
And it's really fun to see scientists taking this stuff seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of them look at this as like a pseudoscience or like, oh, I don't believe in that crap, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like people like medical doctors, there's an oncologist, they're PhDs, like they're really in it. They're taking it seriously. They're looking for quantifiable data.
And they're also willing to put their
credentials on the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is unusual because most people are like, I can't do this because nobody will take me seriously in academia. So no thanks.
All right, so let's break down the origin of the legend of Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay. So before coming here today, I decided to reach out to my friend Summer, who is Navajo. I've spent time with Summer and her father, Pete. It was super interesting. Love them so much. And so Summer was kind enough to really tell me what a skinwalker is in Navajo culture, right? So she said a skinwalker is a medicine man who wants to have really evil powers, like black magic, and who is jealous of somebody else. Like there's a target, right? So a skinwalker has to kill somebody close to them, a loved one, to take on these powers. Then they can shapeshift into an animal. It can't be many animals. It's one animal whose skin that they'll wear, right? And then there's always a specific target. So usually the skinwalker will target somebody that, you know, the living person is jealous of, envious of, has beef towards, whatever the story is. And what's super scary is she was saying that a lot of times skinwalkers, they're like people in the family. You don't know that it's actually somebody really close to you that's targeting you.
Yeah.
Which is awful, right?
Absolutely.
And that they can cause bodily harm. They can make you really sick. But they're really out to kill you. She's like, they are cold-blooded murderers. That's the intention of the skinwalker. They want you dead.
They're like Native American assassins.
Kind of. Yeah, totally. And the only way to get rid of a skinwalker or kill a skinwalker is to kill the human that is the skinwalker or who manifested the skinwalker, right? So skinwalkers are not ghosts. They're actually just like manifestations from a living being or a medicine man or black, black magic practitioner. Okay. Right, in Native American culture. And yeah, so they're super scary and really bad. And she has a really scary story about a skinwalker that actually attacked her father.
Can you share it?
Yeah, we're going to play the clip.
Okay. So it sounds like skinwalkers have one mission, and that mission is to murder and kill.
Right.
How is that different from other entities?
It's very different, in my opinion. One, because a skinwalker is not a ghost, right? It's not that kind of entity. It has a very clear mission. It seems to be directed by a human, right? It's like an outward manifestation of black magic from a human. But other entities, right, you might have some that are super aggressive and angry, but they could be like stuck in a loop. Like they don't even know what they're really doing. They're just acting out, right? You have some that have like unfinished business that until you get the story out, they're going to keep behaving, in a bad way. So it's like, it's just super, it's unique. It's a unique entity. It's not even an entity. Is it? I mean, I guess.
I would say it's a cryptid. Because it's like a shape-shifting human.
Yeah, but cryptids aren't like, I guess. right?
Because it's not all the way human.
Maybe it's like this. It's like maybe I still have to understand what she was saying, because I wonder if it's like, okay, when the medicine man kills the loved one and acquires these like crazy powerful black magic abilities, it creates this being that can shapeshift and then sends it out? Or is the person shape-shifting into this being?
I was always under the impression that the Skinwalker is the person who has become this
that's what
monster.
It is. That's what it is. So the person can shapeshift into the Skinwalker monster, and it can become an animal, but only one animal, and it's specific to the skin that it's wearing.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay.
But it's totally different from other things that I've never encountered a Skinwalker. At least I don't think so. Usually I'm encountering like...
I have.
Really?
I think I saw one. Legitimately.
What did it look like?
I was at a distance, and what I saw was someone running at full speed through the desert, pitch black, 25 miles away from the nearest town, and I saw this thing through a night vision.
Yeah, that's crazy.
At first I thought it was a member of our production, and then it changed direction and like ran over this berm, and I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Why would someone be going for like a cross-country run through the middle of the Utah desert at 1 o'clock in the morning?
It doesn't seem likely.
And it had been torrential rain. We actually had to stop down production until this storm passed, because it was one of those like monsoon type rains.
Yeah. I mean, look, you were filming there. Something's curious. It's like, what's up? I'm going to go spy on this production crew. What are their intentions? Could have been a Skinwalker. I also believe that Skinwalker Ranch is a massive portal.
Yes.
And
we'll get into that, because there's many eyewitness accounts of portal activity.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's Jack Osbourne here, and this episode of Ghosts and Grit is sponsored by ZocDoc. Look, there are some things in life that are okay to be a total crapshoot, like mixing it up with a new takeout spot, or switching out your usual order at your local coffee shop, or even trying out a new podcast or TV show recommendation. But all these are low stakes, so it's okay. But finding the right doctor should never be a total crapshoot. That's not something that is low stakes at all. And with ZocDoc, you've got more options than you know. ZocDoc is a free app and website where we can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, and you can choose your needs right then and there and book them instantly. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much, much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. And you can even score same-day appointments. I use this, and so should you. So, stop putting off those important doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/GG to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com, ZocDoc.com/GG. ZocDoc.com/GG. Hey, it's Jack Osbourne, and this episode of Ghosts and Grit is sponsored by BetterHelp. Do you ever find yourself scrolling through Instagram and feeling like everyone else has it together except you? So easy to fall into the comparing trap. But those are just snapshots. It's not real. Instagram is not real life. Now, here's the thing. Therapy can really help shift your focus on things. So instead of getting caught up in what other people are doing and what other people have, what about focusing on you and living your best life instead of someone else's highlight reel? Therapy has been a game changer for so many people, myself included. It's about learning positive coping skills, setting boundaries, and empowering yourself to be the best version of you. If you've ever thought about starting therapy, head over to BetterHelp and give it a try. It's entirely online, it's super simple and convenient, and is designed to fit into your schedule. You fill out a questionnaire, and you get matched with a licensed therapist, who you can change at any point for no extra cost. Stop comparing and start focusing on you with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/ghosts today and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/ghosts. Now, when I went to the Uinta Basin, first time was 2012. I was filming a show at the time called Haunted Highway.
Yep.
It was a show I had on Sci-Fi Network, and we were actually trying to get on the ranch at the time. It was owned by, I think, Bigelow at the time, and he was like, nope. So we were just investigating the area. It's the first time I met Ryan Burns, actually. And we were interviewing some locals about their experience, and we interviewed this Native American woman who was explaining, like, hey, don't fuck with the Skinwalkers. Be careful when you're here. Like, this place is it's not fun and games. Like, this is the real deal. We'd finished filming for the day, and me and my co-host and some people that worked on the show decided to go see a movie. We went to see Avengers because the first one had just come out. And on the way home, we stopped in a gas station because I had like a bit of a headache. And while I was in the gas station, the guy behind the counter was explaining. He was like, "Well, where are you guys from? What are you doing here?" I was like, "Oh, we're here filming we're doing a I always just say, I'm doing a travel show."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Well, you're in Skinwalker country here." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You got to be careful. If you see any hitchhikers, he's like, don't stop for anyone. Just keep going." While I'm talking to him, this little black dot appears in my vision, my right eye. And over like a 3 or 4 day period, while we were doing the investigation, that black dot got bigger and bigger.
What?
To where I lost 90% of my vision in my right eye. So I end up going home being like, what the fuck is going on with me? I go to the doctor, and I got diagnosed with MS. Right when I got back from Skinwalker. Now, I'm not saying that Skinwalker Ranch gave me MS. It's not what I'm saying. I think it's very weird that I was there when it came on.
And it could have exacerbated something.
Yes. Someone else I know told a story that it was a guy who lives up there. He was at Skinwalker Ranch. His friend came to visit, first time. They were sat out on their property a few miles away from the ranch. And they were like on the back porch, and there was like a stream that went through his property, and on the other bank, on the other side of the stream, they looked and they could see like this man just stood looking at them, and had like an object in his hand, and they stood up and they were like, "What the fuck is this?
Yeah, right. Like, what is happening?
What is going on?" And then the guy just took off. That his friend who was with him started having some like strange like motor function stuff while he was there, and got diagnosed with ALS.
What?
Yeah.
Like, these are all autoimmune diseases.
Yeah, and like neurological things, and yeah.
I mean, that's pretty terrifying.
It is. And there's a lot of strange sickness and illnesses in the whole area. Let's talk about why Skinwalker Ranch is called Skinwalker Ranch. So the Shermans were a family that bought the ranch in 1994. They were cattle farmers. Ranchers. Yeah, cattle ranchers. And they moved to the area without much knowledge of the history of the place. And there actually wasn't any... There had been paranormal events that were documented, UFO sightings, things like that. And there was, there's newspapers that were reporting on strange kind of anomalies like that. But nothing of the nature that they ended up experiencing when they get to the ranch. Shortly after moving there, the family one day, the father was outside, and he sees a giant black dog, like huge, disproportionately big, and he thinks it's some kind of wolf. that is coming after his livestock. So he takes his rifle and he shoots the thing.
Right.
It's a big ass, like 30-06 rifle. The thing doesn't move. He fires numerous shots at it, and then eventually it turns around and takes off running. He goes to the location where he shot it, and he can see like patches of fur, and never recovered the body. After that, they started experiencing cattle mutilation. But when they would find the cattle, they looked like they'd been cut up with surgical precision. They had been drained of all of their blood, and there was specific organs would be missing, which they never had an explanation for. When they would speak to, Bureau of Land Management or whatever, like the game warden in the area, he's like, oh no, this is like maybe a pack of coyotes.
They can't do things with precision.
Yeah, and they couldn't ever get a clear explanation. They then began to have experiences within the house. They would have like time loop stuff. There's a story of the mother unloading her groceries, putting all the groceries in the cabinets, coming back into the kitchen, and all the groceries are back in the bag. There was an incident where a strange like orb opened up into like a portal, and some kind of creature came out of it. The family were experiencing poltergeist-like hauntings in their home, hearing banging. They were kind of being tormented, and it was like relentless. There was something too about if you dug like in the ground in a certain location, people were getting very sick.
Okay.
And they couldn't figure out why.
Interesting.
Yeah. It got to the point where the activity was so aggressive, the family just couldn't live there anymore. They were losing cattle. Their mental health was suffering. And so they sold it. And they sold it to Robert Bigelow, who was a billionaire from Las Vegas, who's heavily into paranormal research, UFOs.
Okay.
He's actually really into ghost research and consciousness as well. He then bought it, and he started an organization called NIDS, which stands for National Institute for Discovery Science. And the whole purpose of Bigelow owning the ranch was to conduct just research. Mm-hmm. He owned the ranch until 2016. During his time, during that 20 years he owned the place, there were reports of government agencies coming to the ranch. There were reports of weird research. All the while, people are still seeing UFOs, seeing Bigfoots, seeing Skinwalkers.
Bigfoots are interdimensional beings too. I firm believer.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing about this area. Mm-hmm. Insane amount of Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah.
So Bigelow ends up selling the property to the current owner, real estate magnate in Utah, like owns all, crazy buildings and all that. He buys the property and really turns up the heat on the research. Mm-hmm. He decides to allow cameras on. He wants to bring in all these scientists. And his whole stance is, what the fuck's going on out there? We need to know. And everyone needs to know, like enough of keeping this secret.
Right.
And I think that's actually really
awesome. It's awesome. And I think it's like all of the above. I think it's skinwalkers and other interdimensional beings and something underground. I mean, the fact that people are having radiation poisoning is telling you something.
Yes.
If people are digging into the ground and getting sick, there's something going on.
Yeah.
I believe the government knows a lot more about Skinwalker Ranch than is letting on. So I think it's like a really unique spot.
Yeah.
Really unique.
No, I would love to get on the ranch. Now, a few years ago, my friend Jeremy Corbell, he made the documentary that came out. It's called like The Hunt for the Skinwalker. And he's got some really interesting experiences out there and understandings of what the research is I mean, it's wild because everyone that I know who has who's kind of in the know about Skinwalker, the main bulk of the research is in interdimensional travel.
Right, because here's the thing I want to talk about is I feel like saying hunting skinwalkers is like not really correct, right? Because
I don't think that what has made the place famous is Skinwalkers.
No, it's not. I don't either. So I feel like Skinwalker Ranch, that's the name. It feels a little bit outdated in the sense that when the researchers are there now, they're looking for other things. They're looking at UFOs. They're looking at Bigfoot. They're looking at portals, right? So it's like I think that's the something that needs to be spoken about. Like it's called Skinwalker Ranch, and most of the things that are happening today that people are experiencing are skinwalkers.
Without a doubt. And maybe there have never even been real skinwalkers there.
Mm-hmm. Because why? Who are they targeting?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe way in the past, but like it doesn't make sense that a skinwalker is just running around with no intention. They don't have a focus because according to my friend Summer, skinwalkers are deliberate. They know what they're doing. They have a target and that their mission is to kill.
Yeah.
So doesn't seem like that's what's happening on Skinwalker Ranch today.
No.
Right?
No. I think it's just become a catch-all.
Yeah.
Because no one really knows what a skinwalker is and no one really knows what's going on Skinwalker Ranch.
Right. And it's like, oh, let's blame the Native Americans again. And make it like they're evil. Like
alternatively, here's the flip side to it though. Did the Native Americans just call it all Skinwalker because that was like the scariest thing that was an issue for them back then?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I think it's like this. It's like, okay, so I have a friend who is from the Ojibwe tribe and grew up on a reservation in Michigan, and she's really into paranormal, and she was like, she watches a lot of the shows on Travel Channel, but she told me, she said, Cindy, people need to stop saying that Native Americans are cursing the land. She's like, the land is so sacred to us. Why would we curse it? It's just totally false. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so right. Like, how many times have we been on investigations and been like, it's a Native American curse? You know, it's like, no. And so it's similar with like Skinwalker Ranch. Like, it has this name of, it has a name of, you know, something from Navajo culture, but the activity that's occurring today, I don't think it's from skinwalkers. So we have to be careful, right?
No, it's so true. Very true. And then there is some sensitivities around calling it Skinwalker Ranch. I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were like, oh, we're choosing to not call it Skinwalker Ranch due to, you know, as to not offend people. Mm-hmm. Having been there as much as I have, I don't know if I've been to a single place ever where everyone you speak to has had some kind of paranormal experience.
That's pretty badass.
The guy from the gas station, the woman serving you dinner at the restaurant, the bellman at the hotel. Like, everyone has had some kind of experience. I was sat one night, the crew went and, like, they were playing pool at, like, this bar, and there was a karaoke, and everyone was just kind of hanging out. And I got chatting to this guy, and he's like, oh, yeah, I live out of town, like, about, like, 40 miles, like, up in the mountains. And he was saying that he's seen giants. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, no, there's giants here.
Do you think it's Bigfoot?
I asked him, I was like, Bigfoot? He's like, no, this was like a giant human.
Interesting. When I was at Gunung Padang in Indonesia, the caretaker of the land was talking about giants. Like, that's one of the things that show up in, like, the folklore there.
Yeah.
That there were these giant humans and that they believe, like, some of the handprints are in the stone. So that's a real thing.
Yeah. So some of the things that really disturb folks about the Uinta Basin and Skinwalker Ranch is the cattle mutilations.
Right.
These animals are found, like, almost cored out like an apple.
Right.
Blood fully drained, certain organs removed with laser precision. Mm-hmm. What the fuck can do that?
I think we're dealing with something extraterrestrial. I don't think it's a skinwalker. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, I don't know, it just feels that way. I feel like we're dealing with something that is experimenting or wants to, like, cut open an animal and see, what does this look like? Or can I incinerate a dog with a, like, what the hell is that about? Right? They're saying, like, these dogs are there, and then all of a sudden there's a circle around the dogs, and that there's, like, a a ring that's hot, but then the dogs are just incinerated. What does that?
Freaking laser beams.
Right?
Yeah.
So I go alien.
You think alien?
I think alien.
I think it's alien and interdimensional.
I think aliens are interdimensional.
Do you think that the strange creatures that people are reporting seeing are just different types of aliens, or are those like aliens in spacesuits?
I mean, I guess everything is kind of an alien. It's alien to us. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Just where is it coming from? What does it look like?
Yeah.
So I guess we can go with interdimensional beings or aliens.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll take it.
But I think they're curious about animals. I mean, there's no animal that could attack a cow and cut into it with precision and take out the organs with precision. That makes no sense.
Yeah. I'm forgetting my favorite thing to tell you about this area as well.
What?
Pukwudgies.
What's a pukwudgie?
Pukwudgies are my favorite, like, cryptid creature.
What are they? I don't know what they are.
They're like these angry, weird garden gnomes that destroy your yard furniture, but
Oh,
they
really?
love eating strawberries.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Michelle thing. Does
Right?
she know a lot about those?
I think she does.
Yeah.
I heard about them for the first time doing an investigation near Skinwalker, and apparently Pukwudgies were like plaguing this area.
Super interesting. I mean, man, it seems like it's a place where everything can come out that has ever been, that consciousness has ever created and could be creating.
Yep.
And it's just like this hotspot. It's like I would be careful of my thoughts in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's a weird place.
Oh, it's so weird.
Super weird.
All right. What do you know about this triangle of death?
Nothing.
Okay. There's an area on the ranch which the researchers have dubbed the triangle of death. The reason being is that people are getting very sick in this area. Like, it's the hot spot. And if you watch the Skinwalker Ranch show, they're more or less leaning into the notion that this is the portal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But what kind of illnesses are presenting in the Triangle of Death?
Okay, so the Triangle of Death is described as the epicenter of high strangeness at Skinwalker Ranch. It is believed to be where a malevolent entity resides. Like, what kind of malevolent entity?
I mean, I don't know if I like the language there. Like, they're saying it's one entity. It's like we're in this hotspot of all entities of all kinds at any time.
Yeah, why are you going to label it as one thing?
It doesn't make sense. I don't know if I buy that. I'm curious about the radiation that could be under the ground.
Yeah, and isn't there, what's the deal with the caves? Do you know anything about that?
So I watched a little bit of the show, right? And apparently there are cave systems underneath there. There was something weird that happened with water. Like one of the investigators filled this hole with water. He said it took like 3 hours for the hole to fill up with water. And then it took 15 minutes for it to totally go back down. That doesn't make sense. Isn't that weird? So there's something underneath the ground, cave systems, which honestly it's probably not that unusual considering the landscape.
Sure, yeah.
And what's underneath there? Is there something more underneath there?
Residing under there. Maybe that's where one portal is, like the hellhole.
And I want to talk about people losing time, right?
Yes.
So Sedona, Arizona, everybody kind of knows Sedona. I have a friend who went to Sedona. She's actually a psychic medium. She was sitting on some of the rocks and she said she totally lost time, that she had no idea what was happening. She like went to a different, like, I don't know if she went to an alternate reality or what. And her friend, that she was with was like calling her name. My friend couldn't hear her friend. She like, it was the weirdest thing. She said she came out and she didn't remember anything that happened. Now, in Sedona, there are a lot of vortices, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're dealing with that as well.
Ley lines?
Yeah, ley lines. But there's that too. So how is it I don't know. I don't know. I feel like intuitively it's a place where all of the different timelines are overlapping and bleeding into one another, and it's all fair game. We can see things from all different eras bleeding in.
The place is just fucked.
I know.
In the best way possible.
It really is. And like I when I think about Skinwalker Ranch, I have to be honest, I feel way more excited than I do scared because I feel like we can get so much interesting information from this place that can help explain some paranormal stuff, like UFOs. It's like, thank God this place is there. Maybe we'll get the quantifiable stuff that people need, quote unquote, to believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need that, but a lot of people do.
Alrighty. So, your friend sent us some recordings with explanations of skinwalkers.
Yeah, so my friend Summer, she's Navajo. She kindly sent me descriptions of what skinwalkers are, and she sent a clip of a story of what happened to her father, like a really scary story of an encounter with a skinwalker. So let's listen to it.
Alrighty.
So, as the target of a skinwalker, you're going to know when you're a target. You're going to keep seeing that same skinwalker. You're going to keep seeing them. And it could be someone as close as you to your family, and you could never know. But like I said, that's why if you figure out who the skinwalker is, who they are as a human, then you'll kill that person. They'll die because you found them out. So
that's interesting.
That goes the human and the skinwalker. But as the person, as the target, skinwalkers can make you very sick. They can...
Can I just say, I love hearing like the birds chirping in the
Yeah,
back.
it's awesome. I know.
This is from a story. This is a story from that my dad told me from his own experience. He got hit by a skinwalker. There was a skinwalker after him, and he got hit right in the heart. I'm pretty sure it was three claws in him, in his heart, that he had to get pulled out. And it was making him really sick, really sick, because whatever the skinwalker hit him with, it was hurting his heart. It was poisoning it. And he had a ceremony for himself. And the medicine man, it was a good medicine man, he saw it. And he pulled them out of him. And when he pulled them out, they were there. They weren't... He couldn't see them. Only the medicine man could see him. So, as the target, if you get hit... If you're getting stalked and you get hit by a skinwalker, you can get really, really sick. And you can die from it, too. They can kill you. Skinwalkers are murderers. That's what they want to do. They want to hurt you. They want to kill you. They don't like you. So, as a target, the best that you can do is pray and pray and pray. If you ever see a skinwalker, or if a skinwalker ever keeps coming back to you, pray about it. Pray about it. If something starts feeling wrong in your body, go get help, because they'll work fast.
Oh,
and
shit.
They'll watch you over time and figure out like what you do, where you are, where you go, all of it. And then they'll make their move on you when the time is right.
Yeah, they're like assassins.
So that is a couple things I know about skinwalkers. Mostly the important things that I could think of. There's a lot more.
That's scary though. They're like they know you. They'll work quick. They'll make you really sick. It's messed up.
Yeah, and it's like spiritual poisoning.
Right.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, I don't think what's going on at Skinwalker Ranch are skinwalkers.
But now I'm like, maybe it is, because what about the guy that got diagnosed with ALS? He sees the person watching him, this thing with the stick, and then all of a sudden it happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mostly not skinwalkers.
Okay, so there is a few clips that I have to show and share. Now, the first one, the reason I'm showing it is because it is just a it's a screenshot. It's not even a video, highlighting the fact that at Skinwalker Ranch, one of the consistent phenomenons, whatever is there has an ability to interact with humans via electrical equipment.
Yeah, that's really common for all kinds of entities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you see it with ghost box, EVPs, you know, Mel meters.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
So the first two pieces of evidence are taken from History Channel series, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Now, it's surveillance footage from the ranch that catches an unexplainable image. They don't know why it happened the way it did. There's a whole... all right, I'm going to show you this picture. What's the only thing you can make out in this?
I mean, it looks like I have no idea what it is other than I see a red column and it says, I living.
Okay. So this camera was in like one of the security areas at the ranch, and it started malfunctioning and sending off alerts for like motion.
Right.
And it was just showing a blurred, fucked up, fuzzy image. And for 5 hours, it was doing it. Now, an investigator yelled, "If you have something to show me, show me. If you have something to tell me, tell me." Right when he said that, this right here occurred, and it's the only thing that is you could even make out, and it says, "I live."
I mean, that's wild. That's super clear.
Very clear. Now, let's be truthful that this camera was something about like a living room.
It was a camera one living, right?
Camera one living room, yeah. And so it had living already on the screen, but I think it's interesting that's the only thing that you can see when a camera was malfunctioning without explanation.
And it comes directly after he asked the question.
Yes.
Like, show me something, me something. And then it shows up when for, 4 and however many minutes, 4 hours and however many minutes before, there was nothing.
It's like a ghost box.
Super interesting.
All right. Now, this next one is my favorite. It's, once again, from the History Channel's series, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. And... all right, so it's footage of the ranch. You see down under the tree on the right-hand side lower, there's a cow. But then look at that little thing in the air. It looks like a...
looks like a UFO.
Yeah, now watch.
This is where something else does enter the frame.
Now
The next frame.
he's explaining the UFO. And
The
then
object is here. The cow is trying to get up on her feet.
So when the UFO flies
This is
over,
where something else does enter the frame.
they're
The next
saying
frame.
the cow had some kind
The
of
object is
reaction
here.
to it, and that's why the cow started
is
getting up.
Trying to get up on her feet.
I mean, how fast did that thing move?
In one frame.
That's...
This is where something else does enter the frame. The next frame.
Look at this. Boom.
The object is here. The cow is trying to get up on her feet.
wow.
Pretty interesting. Doesn't...
I would like to see the video.
Yeah. Well, I might do a bit of Skinwalker Ranch show binging tonight.
Yeah, me too. I like the show. It's great.
Yeah.
Wait, what is the Skinwalker Ranch J-Knots?
Oh, okay. So, this one, you know what I'm actually going to do?
What?
I'm going to be a real dick right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to save this just for our Patreon folks.
What the hell? Well, why can't I hear it?
Well, you can.
Oh.
With me and the Patreon folks. Because I break down my experience where I actually saw a skinwalker. I believe I saw a skinwalker.
Oh, got it. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So if you want to hear this story and you're not a Patreon subscriber,
Better sign up.
head on over to Patreon, sign up, and the story will be there. And I'm going to show the footage from the TV show, and then I'm going to show the footage that I shot on my phone while I was there. So, yeah. Got some good... We're going to spill some tea.
Crazy.
All right. That being said, what are your thoughts? We're going to close this episode down. Where are you at with Skinwalker Ranch?
Oof. Where am I at with Skinwalker Ranch? I want to go to Skinwalker Ranch. I want to investigate Skinwalker Ranch. I don't think that the activity that most people are experiencing today are from Skinwalkers. I believe that there is a massive portal on Skinwalker Ranch. I think there are a ton of interdimensional beings floating in and out. I think that there's a lot there. It's like a hotspot. It's the most amazing hotspot of all time. But it's actually super dangerous.
Yeah.
So as much as I want to go there, I'm actually a little bit scared to go there, especially after even hearing from what my friend said, right? Like, even if there aren't a lot of skinwalkers, the fact that there are some that can just target you, and that sounds scary.
I pretty much mirror your exact everything. I don't think it is a skinwalker as we know skinwalkers to be.
Right.
I think they've just been labeled as skinwalkers because people don't know what else to call it.
Right. And that's like, look, that is so common. I mean, even in the Bell Witch case, when we were talking about that, it's like when we don't know what something is, we want to label it so it makes more sense to us. But it's not always accurate. So I think people should be super open to all of the ideas, right? Like, open to a lot of things. I find living in the unknown actually really exciting. I mean, it's fun, or it's nice to be able to say this, I know what this is for sure, but I don't think any of us know anything for sure in the field of paranormal. So it's better to just like be present, be open, have the experience, and say, that was interesting. Yeah,
I agree. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please smash that like and subscribe button. Please turn on your notifications so you know when we're dropping new episodes. If you're watching on Rumble, thank you so much for the follow, and please tell all your Rumble friends about us. And if you're listening via the podcast, I hope you enjoyed. Now, Patreon followers, please stick around, because I saved a good one just for you. So this is going to be a fun conversation.
As we wrap up our dive into the mysteries of Skinwalker Ranch, let's take a minute to mull over the big questions it's tossed our way. Gusher, Utah, where the beauty of the landscape clashes with the whispers of secrets from ancient times. Here, we're staring down the limits of what we know, realizing there's a whole lot we have yet to figure out. So, until we cross paths with the unexplained again, keep your wits about you and your curiosity sharp. Because it's in our relentless pursuit of truth that we inch closer to peeling back the layers of mystery that cloak our world.